Hey, it's Don Thornton again. I just want to continue with my YouTube channel, Don, the Short Sale Guy Reminisces. And for those of you who've been following, I've been taking whoever wants to watch it, my family, hopefully, down memory lane when during my 2 year LDS mission, Mormon mission to Finland. And the first last episode, I talked about my first month in Pori, and now, in which for Pori's over here on the West Coast, and now it's kind of cool because I finally became a senior companion, which was awesome. I was very happy because now I could run things the way I wanted to run them, and I had two companions, two comps in a row that were just jerks and didn't like them. They were lazy asses. And I wanted to get out there and start hitting it. So I got a greenie from. I don't think he was a greenie. I think he was already 1 month in, so he wasn't quite a greenie. But he didn't speak hardly any Finnish, of course. So he's a very nice guy. His name was Elder Winburn, Billy Winburn, and very quiet guy. But he was nice. He he. I'm a different kind of person. I'm a very sarcastic, ironic person. I joke a lot, and I tend to make fun of things I think are stupid. So he had a hard time with some of my jokes, as a lot of people do apparently. But anyway, we had a good companionship, and we were out door knocking all the time, and I found a lady that seemed to be interested, and for about about 3 weeks, we would go and talk to her and so forth, and we gave her the Book of Mormon, and we were reading it together, and you know, um, she was a really nice lady, and I really grew to love her. She was a great woman. But what was interesting was, well, I'll tell you a little bit about Pori. Was we called this a 4-man town, which basically meant that it was a smaller town, but it was big enough to where there were two companionships would be there. So we had it was me and my companion Veli Winburn, and then there was Mark Thatcher, Veli Thatcher, that was there with his companion. I cannot for the life remember who his companion was. But anyway, but I really enjoyed Thatcher. He was a good guy from Boise, Idaho, actually a small town outside of Boise, and really one of my good friends I met on my mission. But anyway, we they lived on one side of town. We lived on the other side of town, and in Finland, sauna is a big deal. They pronounce it sauna in Finnish, but we would always go to each other's apartments to when it came time for us to each companionship, each apartment had their own sauna time, so they would always come to us when it was our time. We would go to them for their time. Plus, they had a washing machine, which we did not have. I was fated, it seems like, my entire mission. I always had the worst apartments. Even if we were in a 2-man or 4-man town, I was never in the good apartment. I was always in the shitty apartment. Sorry for my language. But anyway, so one day it was we were always having the evenings. So they would come over, like, about 7 or whatever, and we would go in the sauna and strip naked and put that baby up to almost 100 degrees, and or actually over that. It was 100 degrees Celsius. It was really hot. So no, it wasn't 100 degrees Celsius. I'm sorry, that's stupid. I'd be boiling. That was anyway. Whatever. So one day we were sitting there, buck naked, sweating our asses off, and then one of the guys, Thatcher, says, "What's that on your throat?" And I didn't even notice. I felt it and realized there was like a golf ball size growth on my right here. And I said, "I don't know. That's weird." So I said, "Okay." So the next day, I called down to Helsinki to the mission office and said, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And they said, the president said, "Well, go to a doctor." So I went to a doctor, and doctor didn't speak any English, of course. So we're going back and forth about what it is. And my Finnish was good. It wasn't. I mean, it got better. My Finnish got really better, 4 months later. But I was still, just feeling my way. And I certainly didn't have any medical vocabulary, so I had to crash, studying on medical stuff. But basically, he just thought it might be a goiter at first. But he said, let's just take some tests and so forth. So they said, come back in a couple weeks, and I said, okay. And then I'll never forget. Doctor comes to me that one day, and I'm there with my comps waiting outside. Of course, he's a greenie. He doesn't know anything. He doesn't speak Finnish. So he says, well, mä uskon, että sulla on syöpää. And I was like, syöpää, what's that? So I get my dictionary out. Syöpää, and it says cancer. It's like, oh, shit. I just got told I got cancer in Finnish. And so I'm like, it's funny because you hear about people, when they come down with a serious illness or whatever, and you think to yourself that your first reaction is going to be like, "Oh my god!" But no, I was just numb. I was numb and just disbelief. It's like, I don't know, really. And then you can remember this was during Chernobyl, and it's also with it was with the Libya strike and the postal strike. So, and you can imagine the horror my parents had when they got a call from the mission president saying, by the way, your son was diagnosed with cancer. Anyway, they thought it was Hodgkins disease. Okay. So they thought that my lymph nodes were, expanding and so forth. This was just a part of it. So, anyway, the mission president asked me if I wanted to go home. I said, no, I spent all this time learning Finnish. I'm going to go home now. I said, no, I want to stay. So we decided to go ahead and get treatment right there. So basically, and this is the postcard of the hospital I was actually in right here. And that's just, obviously me being chased by the Finnish doctors. But I was here for almost 2 months, 6 weeks, I think, at least. I was here. And that was a trip because, basically all it was, and here's the thing though, because I didn't feel bad, right? I didn't feel bad really. I just had a big golf ball in my throat. In the meantime, I had been teaching this woman named Maria, as I told you about, and then eventually she wanted to be baptized, and I was scheduled to have surgery. They were going to do a biopsy here. They were going to see, go out and take it out and see what happened. And so I had my surgery, and I had a bottle sticking on my neck, a drainage bottle sticking on my neck, and so they gave me permission so I could go to the local chapel, and we had a baptismal ceremony. I was able to baptize her, and then I went back to the hospital. So, but the thing was that it was weird because I mean, once they had it drained and everything, and they bandaged it, of course, and the bottle wasn't there. I mean, I felt fine. So the doctors would do their rounds in the morning. They would talk to me, and then I was free to do whatever I wanted. And I mean, listen, you got to remember, I'm 21 years old, actually 22 by this time. I didn't want to hang around a Finnish hospital. It's depressing, or whatever. So I would just go. I would just go and do whatever. I go hang out with other elders, but I wasn't allowed to work with them or whatever because of the health situation. So I would just go hang out in their off time or whatever. I would just go to different places. But it was funny was that I don't know if you know about, but in Finland, May Day is a big deal. That's we don't celebrate that. It's like Labor Day, but it's more it's a bigger holiday in Europe than it is in the U.S. But I used to go there, and I mean, you have 2 days off, and then there's lots of parades, but a lot of unions would parade and so forth. But in Finland, there's a lot of communists. You'd be surprised how many communists there were. I'm not sure there are any more now, but back 30 years ago, there was the Communist Party was influential. And so they would always have big parades, and listen, for me as an American, is like to walk in a commie parade was like I want to go walk in a commie parade, so I mean, here I am right here, you can tell that I had never ever, I mean, you would never know that I had just gotten surgery for cancer, I mean, I was or what they thought was cancer, and but I just kind of just got in there, and with my coat on, I didn't look like I was a missionary, so I felt like I was a real rebel here, Mormon missionary, conservative American, jumping in and walking with these commies, Finnish commies. But that was pretty funny. But I remember it was funny to me was I remember when the doctor, going back to when I was diagnosed, when the doctor came to me and said that I had, after I got diagnosed, we went back to our apartment, me and the other three missionaries, and we were just sitting around, and they were like, oh, what would we say or whatever, and I was just joking around, having a good time. And I remember my companion turned to me and he goes, how can you laugh? And it's like, I said, what? He goes, they just told you got cancer and you're laughing? You're cracking jokes? What's wrong with you? And I was like, okay, first of all, I'm the one that got diagnosed with cancer. I can goddamn well react how I want to react. But I said, look, what do you want me to do? Go into a fetal position and start crying with my thumb in my mouth? I said, I mean, whatever. We'll see what happens, right? So I don't know. I just always felt like I really have an empathy now for people that get diagnosed with diseases like that because I mean, crap. Um, you know, people change. You don't change, but people change. But anyway, that was the next chapter in my experience in Pori, where I was in the Sairaala, which means hospital in Finnish, and but they used to call me the unknown patient. There was a very famous book that was published after the World War II called The Unknown Soldier, and so they kind of it was like a play on words. They called me the unknown patient because after the doctor made his rounds, I was gone. I'd come back before they shut things down, and then I would go back to bed and everything. But it was actually kind of cool, and it certainly beat knocking on doors every day, like I was, doing before. So anyway, that is chapter 2 in my experience of being in Pori. And oh, I'll talk about the cancer thing the next video. Okay.